Hi, everybody. My name is Paisley Blackburn, and I was just interviewed by Keith Andrews, and he has overcome a lot in his life, having a disability, and he interviews those of us with disabilities who are also working to, better ourselves and prove that we are more than that disability. So if you could, please give him a huge watch, like, shout out, whatever, share. Let him know that you are understanding and promoting that he is trying to do a great job with himself. Thank you.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to the KeithAndrewNetWork. This is episode 587. That's right, it's 587. And here's the talented Paisley Blackburn. I just want to say thank you for being a guest on my talk show.
Thank you. I'm honored to be a guest on your show. I really am. Thank you.
The honor's all mine. Try and catch my voice. For people who want to know what my talk show's about, whole point of my talk show is to show people that even with having a learning disability, I can still amount to something. And at the same time, I'm able to turn myself into an example for people out there dealing with any types of learning disabilities and disabilities to never give up and prove people wrong. Prove to them that labels do not dictate who you are and who you're going to be. And to prove to them is to amount to something. So hashtag break the labels. Now, for people who want to see our very first episode we did, that's, season 1, 2, 3. That's season 4, episode 355. That's going back to 2017.
Wow. That is so amazing, Keith. I'm so proud of you. I really am.
No, I appreciate it. I do have a couple questions for you off the air if you're interested.
Sure.
And the first one is for our viewers to catch up. You are a professional actress. What was your very first breakthrough? Like, what was the very first thing that, you kicked down the door saying, this is what opened the door for me?
Well, I've been acting a long time. I would have to say probably when I did In a Cage as a domestic violence victim. That certainly helped open some doors. It's on my demo reel, and that has certainly helped me get work as an actor.
No, absolutely. About what was the process you had to take?
Well, I'm going to go ahead and admit this. I had been a victim of domestic violence, and I tapped into that for the part. And after that was back in fall of 2011, and after that part, I really was able to tap. Well, I'm going to go ahead and level with you. I also have a disability. I'm bipolar, and I cope by using acting as a way to channel all those swirling emotions in my brain, if you will. And so after that, I was able to tap into more roles.
No, absolutely. It kind of feels like I do my talk show for therapy, so we need an outlet for what you're passionate about.
Yeah. Having a disability, whether it's, ADHD or autism or bipolar, it doesn't have to define you. And I feel like society puts too much of an emphasis on that. I feel like they want us to define ourselves by our disabilities, where our disabilities can only enhance what we're capable of. Like what you're capable of. You're capable of all of this, and they probably never thought that was possible, but I see it is, and I hope that they see it is, because it is possible to move beyond that and be something greater.
Well, all we can do is take one day at a time and keep moving forward.
One day at a time, absolutely.
Now, the next... Absolutely. The next question I was going to ask you is social media. Can social media make you or break you with everything you accomplish in your life? Going back to the very beginning, what was your biggest breakthrough? For an example, I started my talk show in 2013, and I didn't use... Did I use? Well, I used Facebook and Instagram, but I was only screwing around with that. But do you think it's because of all that social media that you get in the roles that you need? Or did you think or feel that you need to build a fan base in the very beginning?
Well, I do feel social media does help. Now, I will admit I have a Twitter account and Instagram account. I don't use them as much as I should, but Facebook and LinkedIn I have gotten so many roles off of just those two, and I do believe that social media because you don't necessarily have to go to Los Angeles to get a role. You can network with someone and then show them your reel and your headshot and resume, and then if they would like an audition, that we can do Skype. So I think social media has been very good in the sense of networking and getting parts and being able to communicate with other people. Definitely social media has been a plus.
No, I agree with you. And doing a big shout out to LinkedIn. When I first started, half of the people I met was from LinkedIn.
Where's that at? I don't know.
So, it started like everyone from the show pretty much came from LinkedIn. Then it was Twitter. Then
I'm sorry. I thought you said a country. I apologize. I misunderstood. LinkedIn has been a definite source. I just got offered a part about a week and a half ago through LinkedIn. And I think social media is definitely, for people like us, a plus. You can't argue that, it's definitely a plus.
No, I agree. And, like for me, it's funny because it started with LinkedIn, then I went to Twitter. Facebook was give or take because, Facebook people always lie and everything. And Instagram, right. It's always hit and miss. And especially, at the time when I was using LinkedIn, it was Stage 32. I really don't use that anymore, but, Stage 32 was a big thing. Is still a big thing.
Stage 32, yes. I know what you're talking about. I don't use it anymore. I think it's got a lot of bugs with it. I'm not
too
sure,
many viruses.
But yeah. Yeah, so I don't really use Stage 32 anymore, but I do use LinkedIn.
Now, the next question I was going to ask you, you probably didn't make this failure, but I do want to ask anyway. My failure was when I first started with my talk show. I used my brother for an inspiration, but we always banged heads. But my biggest mistake was I didn't do what he did, and what he did was make a fan base, like a fan following. So I basically jumped right into it. So then about 2015, 2016, I did it over. Actually, I did it recently. I did it over and said, you know what, forget social media, upload the episodes, but I'm going to reach out to every single person out there and say, this is who I am, what I do, and I'd like to have you a part of it. If I did that from the very beginning, yeah, maybe things would have been different, or, the video quality could have been different. But, it's just one step ahead. But for you, what was your biggest thing? Did you just want to get out there first, or did you want to make a fan base first?
Well, that's actually a very interesting question because I started getting requests for autographs, and I thought they were going to be local, but they weren't. They were from Switzerland and Germany and from overseas. And as soon as I could save up enough money to get some pictures, I would autograph the back of it for them. And if they were from another country, I would write something in their language. I wanted to show them I cared, And so I ate that cost. I know a lot of A-list celebrities will charge their fans, but I do not. If somebody asks for an autograph, I have pictures, and I will autograph it on the back of it to let them know that I'm really interested in them. And then I would send it to them, and sometimes they would post it on their Facebook or LinkedIn. And I don't have a huge number of fans, but the ones I have, I love with absolutely all of my heart because they're so loving and they're so supportive. How can you not love that? It's just, it makes me emotional because I'm not even sure what they've seen me in, but they've evidently seen some independent films. That's what I do, most of the time is independent films, and they've seen something, and they'll reach out for an autograph. Like I remember one girl it was overseas, something like either Finland or Norway or Sweden, somewhere in the Scandinavia, and she asked me if I could send an autograph picture to her father, who was a big fan, for his birthday. And I was like, yeah, absolutely. So I wrote happy birthday, in his name, and wrote a little bit of a sentence, a couple sentences for him, and told him I was really appreciative of the fact that he was a fan, because I don't have a lot. So I want to keep the ones I have. And sometimes it moves me to tears because, when they reach out like that, and it just makes me feel honored that they have seen something I've been in, and I want them to know that I truly love them with all of my heart.
No, I agree with you. And for me, actually, while we're on the subject, and I mentioned it to you, are you a member, or have you ever heard of CelebVM?
I have not, actually.
Well, I am on there, so I might as well plug it. I haven't used it as of late.
Sure.
CelebVM is pretty much like this. I come to you and I say, for an example, Miss Blackheart, it's my birthday. Can you give me a shout out? Are you coming to me, Mr. Andrew? I'm a big fan of yours. So basically, it's your way of interacting with the fans. And you charge like $20, $30, give or take. Some people have their heads way up there, so they want like $100. But pretty much,
I don't even know if I will charge.
But there's like Michael Jordan, which wants $500. Ron James was $100. Gail Kim wants $100. There's a couple other wrestlers who have like $100. But the point is, you would reach out, say, hey, it's my birthday. It's my anniversary. Yeah, I'm getting engaged. I'm doing this. I'm doing that. Can I have a recommendation or a share? And you pay to them. That's all it's professional. You can pay for them. And while on the subject, for anyone who wants to CelebVM from me, just go to KeithAndrewNetWork.com, and the link is right there. Now there's another website where it's similar to CelebVM, but people say it's a scam. So I'll just stay with CelebVM. And for the record, use a gift card, never a credit card.
Okay, so that's good information to know.
But with that being said, you should definitely be on there.
Well, tell you what, after our interview is concluded, if you could send that to me through Instagram, I will look it up, definitely, for sure. Absolutely.
No, absolutely. Now, the next question I was going to ask you was, what were some of your biggest accomplishments in your life?
I actually, that's a good question, because I used to think I didn't accomplish anything, but I've accomplished a lot in acting. I've acted in genres that were drama, horror, fantasy, sci-fi, comedy, and also I have 3 beautiful children I'm very proud of. So those are my biggest accomplishments. And I'm going back to school for massage therapy.
Oh, congrats.
Gotta have a good day job.
Now, my other question I was going to ask you while on the subject is, what is next for you? Do you want to? So, what do you consider yourself? Do you consider yourself an A-lister, B-lister? I consider myself a D-lister. So I made up a new hashtag D-lister. But what stature did you give yourself and feel that you deserve, and what is next for you?
God, that is a really tough question to answer. I'm obviously not an A-lister because I'm not making a living from acting. That's why I'm going back to massage therapy, so I have a good day job. But there are some roles I've done that I'm very, very proud of. When I played Ingrid in Night of the Dolls, which was a horror movie, and I was the killer. And definitely Submerge Echo 51 as General Luma. I got to be a badass, and I was very proud of that, and I've got quite a bit coming up as far as acting roles, comedy, parody, drama, a few dramas actually, if I remember correctly, and then one that I did where I played Jade Wilson, which is kind of sci-fi fantasy. So you know, it's hard to say. I'm not an A-lister. I'm not a B-lister. I'm probably a D-lister like you, because most of these things are only getting seen by a set audience. But the fans are very loyal and they're very loving. And with all of my heart and soul, I absolutely love them with all of my heart. They are, oh my God, they were so supportive. Even if we only have like 5, they're so supportive.
No, I agree with you. And I give you an example for me, for my fan base. I have people who said they're interested, they like what I'm doing, but I'm still one person at a time. I'm on LinkedIn. If I like you, I will introduce myself and tell you what I do. Sometimes people are assholes about it and they just tell me off. Sometimes people are like, oh, that's really great. But it's kind of like, you need to make a foundation before you do anything. It doesn't matter if you're writing a book or a poetry book. It doesn't matter if you're doing stand-up or you're a motivation speaker. If you don't have a solid foundation, and that's why I said one of my biggest regrets was I should have been doing that from the start. Instead of just, doing one of these and saying, let's stick to the wall.
Right.
But it's a learning experience,
Actually, I wanted to move into, and I'll confess this to you because you're like me. We both have a disability. I wanted to move into stand-up comedy, kind of like, you remember Jeff Foxworthy who did You Might Be a Redneck If?
Yeah.
I want to do something along the lines of You Might Be Bipolar If. And when I was trying out my stand-up act that worked, everybody, the ones that were bipolar were cracking up. The ones that weren't bipolar but knew someone that was were cracking up. And the ones that kind of suspected they knew someone that was, they were laughing. So I was like, because I'll give you an example. You remember Carrie Fisher, right?
Yes.
From Star Wars, Princess Leia. Well, she battled bipolar all of her life, and I remember reading an article online where she was answering questions, and I was laughing so hard. I'm like, she gets it! Oh my God, she's Princess Leia, but oh my God, she gets what it's like to be bipolar. And so when she, passed away a few years ago, I was sad, very sad, because she was bipolar, and she was kind of like our spokesperson. So, I just loved her so much from when I was reading those articles, and I was laughing so hard. I'm like, oh my God, she is so funny, and that's the thing about a disability. It doesn't have to be a bad thing. It can be a good thing. It can be funny. And that's why I am so proud of how far you've come in your own network, with your own disability, and proving, hey, guys, I may have a disability, but I can do this. And I'm so proud of you for that. And you give me hope. You give me hope that it can be done.
No, I appreciate it. And you're the second person that would say that to me. I work in one store. I won't say it on the air, but I'm a cashier. And I walk past this guy, and I say, oh, hey, you're the talk show person. I think you're really inspirational, and I want to say thank you. I said, thank you. And he said, you're the same thing. I give you hope. And that's what I want to do. I'm not blowing smoke or anything. I'm not asking to be, and it doesn't matter if I become an A-lister. If I become an A-lister, I'm still going to work in retail.
I want you to be an A-lister. I want you to go that far, Keith. I really do. You have so much potential. And you know what? I'll go back to school for massage therapy, and I'll still have a day job while I'm doing my thing. It doesn't mean it's a bad thing, but I am rooting for you 100%. I want you to go that far because you have worked so hard. and created such a fan base and gotten some of us on board with you and everything. And I really think you'll go far. And my heart is there, right there with you to go that far.
I hope so.
I believe it. Just believe it, and you can make it happen. The
Yeah.
world is your oyster.
Absolutely. This is what I want to do until I'm 6 feet under. I'm not saying that to be cute or funny. That's how I feel about it.
Absolutely.
But the first thing I want to ask you is while we're on the subject about disabilities. Have your disabilities ever hindered you from getting acting roles? And have you ever second-guessed yourself?
I don't think it's ever hindered me because my disability is a swirling tsunami of emotions in my brain that I always have, that sometimes I feel overwhelmed by. But when I'm acting, when I'm auditioning or acting in a role, I can channel all of that into the role. Now, has it hurt me in what you would call the real world? Yes. Sometimes I get suicidal thoughts, and I may have to go get help for that. Sometimes it's in the psych ward for the 72 hours, that they want to help get you, so you're stable. But as far as acting goes, I don't think it's ever hurt me. But in the real world, yes, it has. Can't lie. I'm gonna be honest. It can be it can be hard sometimes, and for a while there, I thought I might be ADHD, and I remember a doctor prescribed me about 4 or 5 years ago Adderall, and I was driving home, and I thought, wait a minute, high school kids sell this stuff to their friends. Let me see what's in it. And then as soon as I saw it had amphetamine, I was like, nope, not taking it, because I just, I was afraid to take it. Because I also have anxiety. I'm a mess. What can I say? And I was just like, I threw it out. I wasn't going to take it. My brother is ADHD, and he was given, I think it was Adderall first, then moved to Vyvanse. And he said it could do something that I was jealous of. He could laser focus. That was my biggest thing in college when I was studying chemistry. Is I did good. I did very good because I worked so hard at it. But I could only focus for about 15 minutes at a time. Then I had to take a break. And he said with this medicine he could laser focus. And I was this close from asking my doctor if I could try it. And then I thought, I'm really not big on pharmaceuticals. I'll find a way to cope. And it may be part of the bipolar. That's what the doctor thought. He thought that the trouble focusing and everything was part of the bipolar. And he had seen me at my worst, when I was crying my eyes out, and said, I don't know how to cope. And he prescribed, it's a newer medicine. It's called Vraylar. And I did get results at first, but then I started getting real suicidal off of it, so I just stopped it. I'm like, okay, and they do warn you that on the packaging that it could make you suicidal. So my biggest thing is I have trouble sleeping. I can fall asleep, I just can't stay asleep. So my doctor and I talked just a couple weeks ago, as a matter of fact. I wanted to go back on Remeron, mirtazapine, because in a very low dosage, it will help you with sleep. He did mention a couple others like Seroquel and Risperdal, and I looked up in front of him. I had my phone. I looked up the side effects, and I was not impressed with what I saw. So I said, you know what, we'll just stick with mirtazapine. So that's where I'm at.
No, absolutely. Now we're going to take a quick commercial break. And when we come back, with the last remaining time, I'm going to pass it over to you.
Okay.
Williams. This is Vanessa Lina. Adrian Lotto. Allie Heigl. This is Cynthia Bastinet. I'm Sonia Fisher. This is Shane Smith. My name is Alexandra Foley. This is Amelia Clover. Hi, I'm Amy Linden. Hi, I'm Anita Brown. Meg Green. Hi, my name is Asata Caldwell. Hi, everybody. I'm Brooke Percy. Hi, I'm Brinford. Hi, I'm Casey Dunn. Hi, it's Cassandra Kavinsky. Hi, I'm Christina Briza. I'm Cindy Hogan. I'm Courtney Sinello. Hi, I'm Daisy. My name is Deborah Jane East. Hi, my name is Danielle Marcia. Everyone, I'm Victoria London. Hi, I'm Heather Crona. Hi, I'm Heather Callahan-Stevens. Hi, I'm J. Nicole Ralph. My name is Jamie Patrol. My name is Turi. My name is Julia Blankovich. Kathleen Wills. Kimberly Amano. Hi, my name is Laura Putton. Hi, I'm Laura Chatanis. Hi, everyone. I'm Melissa Damas. This is Michelle Mupo, a.k.a. Fuchsia. I'm Rachel Rivera. Hi, my name is Sarah Joy Mount.
I'm Susan Winder.
Hi, everyone. This is Venus Leone. Hi, I'm Showtana.
Hi, I'm Stephanie Herrera, and I was just on the Keith Andrew Network. It was tons of fun. We used up all our time and then some. I really recommend this show, and try to be a guest on Keith's show. It was super fun.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome back to episode 587. I'm here with the talented and beautiful Ms. Paisley, and I just want to say thank you for sticking with us.
You're very welcome. It is my honor. Thank you.
Now, with the last 10 minutes and counting, I'm going to pass the show over to you. You can ask me anything you want. You can promote anything you want. This is your time.
Okay. I've got quite a bit of independent movies I'm working on. One is The House Guest, where I kind of play a crazy bitch. I tend to get those roles a lot. I'm starting to hurt my feelings because I'm so nice, and it's like they cast me as that. And then one is a parody of, and I can't tell you the title because it's too long and I do not remember it, but it's a parody of Fantastic Beasts and Where to Find Them and the Spiderwick Chronicles. And the character I'm parodying is Luna Lovegood from the Harry Potter series. So I have a blonde wig and blue contacts and everything. And then I have a crazy bitch monologue to do called The Wilted Rose. And then there's a drama I'm doing called What Dreams May Come. And then the Confusion series, where I continue my role as Jade Wilson, the bounty hunter, in the world of witches and gods and goddesses, that kind of thing. And that's pretty much all I got going on right now. I haven't auditioned lately, but I'm going to get back into the swing of things. But I wanted to ask you, Keith, I wanted you to tell everybody that what your disability is and how you have overcome it. Because you, seriously, guys, if you're watching, he has inspired me. This man has inspired me because against all odds, against what his doctors have told him, he is a very determined person, very smart person, and he is showing that you can succeed with whatever disability you've been diagnosed with. Could you tell them what you told me a few minutes ago?
Well, to be honest, after...
I make you the star now.
To be honest, after 587 episodes, officially, unofficially, over 800, I think they heard the story multiple times in different ways.
Oh my gosh, so they have. So they know that you have a disability. And look, Keith, I'm going to say it right now for everybody to hear. I don't care what the doctors say. You are smart, and very determined, and you conduct yourself with grace and poise. And like I said, you inspire me to be the best person that I can possibly be. And I want these people to know that I am not only proud of you, I'm proud of everybody that you interview. Because we probably all have an issue that we have to cope with.
No, absolutely.
Boyfriend.
Sorry.
Love you too, honey.
No, I agree with you. And it wasn't really just a doctor's diagnosis. You know, that's what the school labeled me, too.
I'm just going to say, Keith, that sometimes they get it wrong. I've read miraculous stories of people who proved a doctor wrong, and the doctor was happy to be proven wrong. And in your case, I really don't think they've given you as much credit as they should. You are one of the most determined people that I've ever met, and you have built your show up to over 800 episodes. I mean, how many people, even, normal people could say they've done that? They can't. We can't. We are not you. But you are so determined to create a path for yourself that you have forged ahead despite what doctors have said, despite what your school has said, and interviewed so many different people. And you know what? We all love you for that. And you have given us a voice as well. So you, my friend, are an inspiration to me from the bottom of my heart. You really are. I'm sorry I get so emotional, but it's just seeing someone who has had to come across so many odds and build something up the way you have just inspired me. You really have. I'm sorry. You really have inspired me. Thank you.
No, thank you. And you're not the first person I made cry.
Oh my gosh. I'm so glad I'm not the first. Oh, thank you.
The other one was in person when I was working on my job. And we're hitting it off. And I said, I'm actually doing the work here for our hobby. Oh, what do you do in your real time? And I sound like Bill Maher, real time. What do you do outside here? I'm a talk show host for people with disability. And next thing you know, she started to cry. And I'm like, yeah, if anyone asks why you're crying, let's say I showed you the bill.
It's such an amazing thing, because there is such a stigma with disability. There really is. I'm not lying when I say this. I'm afraid to tell people I'm bipolar. I make jokes with my friends at work because they know. But it is hard to tell people that because they're going to look at you differently. And you have proven that they don't have to look at you differently. They can look at you as just Keith Andrews, a person who hosts a show. And that is very inspirational. I can't tell you much how you have inspired me. And I'm so honored to know you. I really am, Keith. I get emotional because I'm afraid sometimes, to tell people. But you have made me feel like it's okay. It's okay to let them know and let them ask questions and answer those questions honestly from the bottom of my heart to the best of my ability. And what you're doing is a great thing. I am absolutely proud of you, and I am rooting for you, and I want you to be that A-lister. I do. I want you to be that A-lister because you deserve it. You've worked hard for it.
To be honest, the only person who really supports me is my mother. Everyone else makes jokes.
Don't listen to them, Keith. Do not listen to them. You know what? Let them make jokes. You'll be the one laughing when you're the A-lister, right? Am I right?
Right.
Yes. When you're the A-lister, you'll be laughing, and we'll all be cheering you on while they're like...
Remember, when you become A-lister, you still have those ass kissers. Those Luigi's.
Oh, I know, right? Yeah, the other day at work, about a week and a half ago, one of my supervisors was having a rough day, and I went up to him and I said, Lorenzo, are you all right? You need me to kiss your ass a little bit? I was only kidding. I actually love him. He's actually a really great supervisor. He was just having an off day, and I wanted to make him laugh, but yeah, they'll be wanting to kiss your butt when you're an A-lister, and you can say, bye-bye.
That's what I said. I said in the other interviews, it's either you got to support me for who I am, or you got to go make friends with the door, and I never, ever want to see that person ever again. Doesn't matter if it's family, doesn't matter if it's as a friend, I don't care what it is or who it is. If you're not going to support me, I ain't going to be a total dick about it, then I will see you again when I'm dead. But until then, I never want to see that person.
Yep, never be afraid to cut, because I've had to cut toxic family members off because they were, my own mother and father are very negative. It's never what you can accomplish. It's, you can't do that. You can't do that. And that just gets old after a while. It's like, I don't need to hear that. I want to hear that I can accomplish something despite being bipolar, and they're not like that, so I cut them out of my life. I mean, I'm trying to work through that, so I don't hate them as much as I do, but right. that takes therapy, and that's where therapy comes in, and it's been a blessing. So I applaud you. If someone's not going to support you in your endeavors to be positive and inspirational, cut them loose. They're not worth it.
No, absolutely. I do have a couple questions for you off the air, but wrapping up, how can people follow you on social media? And when I first approached you to be a guest on my talk show once again, what was your first reaction, and what do you recommend it to other people?
The first time you approached me to be a guest on your show, I was excited. I'm like, oh my God, somebody wants to interview me. because, I'm just this little an unknown independent film actress. And here was somebody that was from New York, of all places, one of my favorite places to always want to go visit that I've never visited, wanting to interview me. And I thought that was awesome. And as far as, what was your first question? Because I think I went to the second question instead of the first.
So on social media, how can people follow you?
They can look me up on Facebook, Paisley Blackburn, and they can also follow me on LinkedIn, Paisley Blackburn. For Twitter, I think my handle is Melina, Mileen, as in Nancy, A 0308. And for Instagram, I think it's just Paisley Blackburn. They can follow me there too.
No, it's funny you should mention the name Melina. How do you say Mel or Ma?
It's pronounced Melina, actually.
Melina. I keep buzzing that. You look exactly like the WWE wrestler. You could be her stunt double.
What's her name? I'll look her up.
Melina Perez.
Okay, Melina Perez. I'll look her up. That's always nice to know that you look like someone.
It is.
I'll definitely look her up.
Now, the next question I do have talk to you off the air about wrapping up. It was a real honor and privilege having you as a guest, and I'm looking forward to part 2 down the road.
Absolutely. You just let me know when you want to do part 2.
Well, part 3, I'm sorry.
Oh, part 3. That's right. We're on part 3 now. It's an honor, Keith, always to interview with you. And like I said, from the bottom of my heart, I mean what I say. I'm very proud of you. I'm rooting for you to be that A-lister. I am totally rooting for you. As soon as you have this ready and everything, I'm going to share it on LinkedIn, on YouTube, on Facebook, and I'm going to promote you. I want people to understand that, a disability doesn't have to be our definition. It could be something we cope with, but it doesn't have to define us. We can move beyond that. And I want people to understand that. I don't think enough people understand that.
No, absolutely.